For 3 long days, the storm battered Neverland. The wind wasn't just blowing, it was screaming through the forests, and the stars seemed to blink in and out of existence, caught between light and dark. It felt as if the very magic of the island was at war with itself. From the cliffs, Wendy stared out at the churning sea, her hand wrapped tightly around the fragment of the heart Peter had given her. Every time it pulsed with light, the glow trembled, as if it were terrified. Down below, the Lost Boys were trying to piece their camp back together, but their efforts were futile. The fire sputtered and died, refusing to catch. John stared at his compass, its needle spinning in a frantic, useless circle. "It's like the island doesn't know where it is anymore," Michael whispered, his voice small against the wind. Wendy closed her eyes, the truth heavy in her heart. Because Peter doesn't. In the very eye of the tempest, Peter stood alone in the glade of echoes, the same sacred spot where they had all made their oath. Rain lashed down, turning the starlit ground into a mosaic of shimmering pools. Each reflection held a different version of him, one laughing, another locked in combat, a third weeping. All of them trapped just beneath the surface. Tinker Bell darted anxiously beside him, her tiny form soaked but still faintly glowing. "Peter, we have to go back to the others." He just shook his head, his gaze fixed on the water. "I can't face them." "Not until I fix this." Tink's light flickered with worry. "You can't fix something that's a part of you," she chimed softly. Peter didn't reply. He was staring into the largest puddle, at his own reflection looking back at him. And then it smiled a moment before he did. With a ripple, the reflection rose from the water, dark and shimmering. It was his exact duplicate, but somehow older. Its eyes held a faint blue glow, and its shadow trailed behind it like smoke. "I'm not your enemy," the shadow self said, its voice unnervingly calm. "I'm your truth." Peter stumbled backward. "You're not real." The shadow tilted its head, a gesture both familiar and alien. "Aren't I? You made me real the day you chose to never grow up." As they confronted each other, the roaring storm seemed to hold its breath. Peter's dagger began to glow, its light pulsing in perfect time with the heart fragment Wendy held miles away. The shadow stepped closer. "You thought staying young would keep you brave, courageous, but all it did was make you afraid of time itself." Peter's voice trembled. "I just wanted the stories to never end." The shadow offered a sad smile. "And yet you can't tell the same story forever, can you?" Suddenly, a figure burst through the trees. It was Wendy, soaked to the bone and breathless, but her eyes burned with determination. She had followed Tinker Bell's faint light all the way through the storm. "Peter," she cried out, "don't listen to it." The shadow turned its gaze to her, its tone almost gentle. "You see it too, don't you, Wendy? He's changing. He'll grow up. He will forget you." Tears welled in Wendy's eyes, but her voice was strong. "Maybe he will. Maybe I will too. But that's what makes it beautiful. That's what makes it real." The shadow's calm expression twisted into a snarl. "No. If he grows up, the boy you know dies. If he stays a boy, he's mine." With a lunge, it surged forward, merging halfway with Peter, their outlines blurring into one monstrous form. Peter gasped, clutching his chest as his inner light dimmed. He crumpled to his knees, the rain hissing into steam where it touched him. Wendy rushed to his side, her voice a desperate plea. "Peter, fight it. You're not just a shadow, you're hope." Peter's world plunged into blackness. He was floating in a timeless, weightless void. Voices echoed all around him. Wendy's laughter, the Lost Boys' playful shouts, Tinker Bell's delicate chime, even Captain Hook's mocking sneer. Memories flashed before him, his very first flight, the first friend he ever made, the first time he ever felt fear. And weaving through it all, a persistent, insidious whisper from the shadow. "You're afraid they'll stop believing in you." Peter's own voice, though trembling, found its strength. "Maybe, but I still believe in them. A tiny spark ignited in the darkness. It was small, but it was warm. The light grew, radiating from his chest, pushing back the encroaching void. The shadow screamed, a sound of pure agony, as it splintered into countless shards of smoke and light. Peter's eyes flew open. He was back in the glade, kneeling in the rain. Wendy was right there beside him, holding his hand, her tears mixing with the storm. Above them, the clouds began to part, and a single brilliant ray of moonlight pierced the gloom. He stood, drenched and shaking, but a genuine smile touched his lips. "It's gone," he said quietly. Then he corrected himself. "No, not gone. It's part of me again." Tinker Bell zipped in front of him, her light now burning with a steady, powerful brilliance. "You finally remembered who you are," she chimed. Peter looked up at the moon, a newfound understanding in his eyes. Not a boy who never grows up, but one who never gives up. But high above the clouds, aboard the Jolly Roger, someone else was watching. Captain Hook lowered his spyglass, a wide grin spreading across his face despite the rain dripping from his hat. "Well done, Pam," he murmured to the wind. "You've accepted the light, which means I can finally take the dark." He opened his gloved palm. Floating just above, it was a fragment of pure shadow, pulsing like a malevolent heart, the one piece of the darkness Peter couldn't reclaim. Hook's eyes gleamed with a crimson light as he whispered to the pulsating shadow, "Let's finish the story, shall we?" The shadow pulsed once in response, and somewhere in the heavens, the stars dimmed ever so slightly. "Thank you so much for joining us on this adventure. What do you think Hook has planned? Let me know in the comments below. And if you don't want to miss what happens next, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We'll see you in the next episode.